Hi, Cutie Pies. It is Lanickia, and I am coming to you with another episode of The Young and the Restless. This is Wednesday, 3/9/2022. And I would have to rate this one like a 6.5, because it was just a solid episode. And I think you need a break from like everything that's going on with the Newmans sometimes, just to break it up. So on this episode, we see Billy and Lily. So Billy and Lily are talking, and they're just going over, he's updating her on, he hasn't heard from Jack, so he wants to talk to Tracy, as well as he's having difficulty with his podcast. So because of that, he wants to talk to Tracy just to see if she knows anything, she can help him, because he knows she's had writer's block from time to time, and see what her methods are to help in getting over that. And so as they're talking, Lily tells him about, she wants to go see Devon to get her baby fixed, because he has the baby for the weekend. And um, Billy has said, "Are you sure it's just not because you want to talk about the merger?" And she does question him about, why he because he says he doesn't think she should pressure Devon. And she said, "Well, why? What do you not think it's a good idea for the merger? What's going on?" Because she feels like he has some reservations that he's not saying. And he tells her, "No, it's a brilliant idea. I really want this to happen for y'all, but I'm just thinking the best way to go into it might not be in pressuring Devon to go with it and everything." And so that's where it kind of ends with them. We see the end with them too, with her just being like, "Yeah, you might be right, but as long as you think it's a great idea." And he said, "Yeah, he thinks it's a wonderful idea, and he's excited for her." And his mother thinks it's a great idea as well. So then we see Tracy attempts to call Jack, but she can't reach him, so she calls Phyllis, and Phyllis just updates her on what they found at the house. They made it in safely. What they found at the house, that Jack is probably and in his room, just because they found letters, they found a box, they found old things. And Tracy just says, "I'm glad you're with him, because and it's better that I probably didn't call him, so he wouldn't have to relive all of that again, and just let him rest." So then they show Jack, and Jack is just going through his just emotions about chemo, and how he wish, I'm just wrapping Jack and Phyllis up, how he wish he had been there for chemo, and how he wished chemo had reached out to him or given him any kind of clue that the door was still open for them to build some type of relationship. But because he didn't, and now he feels like it's too late. And to know that chemo was actually in the States, just a plane ride from him, Jack is feeling a lot of regret, and just sadness. And so Phyllis, he hears something outside, like a thump. And so he goes outside to check, and then Phyllis comes up, and she says she's taking an Uber over. And he said, "Did you see anyone?" She was like, "No, but I was really paying attention to the driver." And she was like, "What did you hear?" And he said, "Well, I thought I heard like a thump, like somebody was out there." He says, "I know I'm not crazy. I know I heard this, but obviously I can't prove it because I don't see anyone outside." And so Phyllis is just like, "Okay, well, let's just, I can investigate this for you. I can check on this for you and see, if there's, someone been around, or if anything's going on." But he's just like, "No, no." So he sends a person who's been texting him a message, and he's like, if they reply back or whatever, they know we're here. But of course they don't reply back. And so he's just like, "All right, well, if they were going to reply back, they know we're here, they know why we're here and everything. At this point, it's not a scammer or anything. It's really somebody who wanted me to find this." And Phyllis is just like, "I mean, if you ever want me to look into it, I will," because, she's like, "Let's go for it. They obviously wanted you to find this information, so let's go." But Jack is just, he doesn't want to. Everything is too raw, I guess, right now. And so as they're about to leave, he just again feels so much regret, and he's hurt that, chemo, he understand he was upset, but once he let go of those feelings, he was hurt that he didn't reach out to him. But even that he understands, because he understands that maybe chemo felt like, "I'm at peace, and if I reach out, that might bring that rage and anger back up again, and he didn't want that. So Jack is just hurt. So then we go to Lily goes over and she speaks to Devon, and the baby is upset, and so he's concerned. Of course, they're concerned because all the health issues. Even though the baby is, doing well, so she tells him, "Go, just call the doctor." So they call the doctor. The doctor said that means he's getting his energy back. Everything is okay. So Devon feels much better. And he asked Lily, "Why did you come over?" And she said, "I just came over to visit, and get my baby fixed." And he was like, "You're such a liar. You came over to talk about the merger too, because I want to, I'm open to talking about the merger." And she was like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, I knew you were such a liar. You came over for more than just that or whatever." It was a cute little scene between brother and sister. But they talk about the merger, and he tells her that he had a dream about Neil, and that he feels like Neil is saying, "Yeah, go ahead, do it." And he spoke to Amanda, and Amanda's like, she gave him the cons on why that would be a really great, thing to do. So he's open to it. He's not saying yes, but he's on a solid maybe, because the benefits, would really help him. So he's on a solid maybe into doing the merger. So then we see, so Lily's happy about that and everything. So then we see Billy goes to speak to Tracy, and she updates him on Jack and everything. And he's like, "I still don't believe Phyllis is just there." Phyllis is always up to something. So Tracy's just like, "Listen, I'm happy she's with them because Jack is going through a lot, and it's a lot." So she was like, "I'm just happy he had someone to go with him." Y'all see my little someone to go with him. And so then we see that she just tells him about his writer's block and everything. So she gives him words of encouragement and tells him to meditate. And he says, "Okay, I might try that." She was like, "What? I mean, it doesn't hurt not to." So he was like, "Yeah, you're right. So I might go ahead and try that and everything." And that's just where they are with that. They wish one of them had went to support Jack, but she's happy Phyllis is there. He is not. And then they talk about Lily, and he tells her, as her advisor, COO, "I'm very happy for her. This merger is amazing, but as her husband, her partner, I don't know where that leaves me." And she tells him, "You need to tell Lily this. Like, don't tell her you're all cool with this and you love the idea." But he says, "But I do love the idea." She said, "Yes, but it's okay to tell her, but what about me? Like, what would happen to me and everything? And you need to tell her that now, because months later would be too late. And she might hold a little resentment for you not telling her." Communication. Thank you, Tracy. And so he's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." So then, what are you doing? So then, we see that he goes and speaks to Lily, right? And so when he speaks to Lily, he's talking to her about, Jack and everything, and and finding all the box and everything with chemo. And she's like, "Wow, that must be painful for Jack." And then he also talks to her. So they're just how married couples do. They're just talking, and then they're getting ready to wind up the night because they're both tired. And he says, "Well, before we go, I need to talk to you." And she was like, "What's up?" And he tells her that he is having reservations. He loves the company idea, the merger, with her and Devon's company, but he has reservations because he's like, "Where does that leave me? Like, I don't want to sound selfish in this, but you won't need an advisor. Like, if you and Devon, y'all merge and all these different people will be coming in. Devon will have his team. Would you need an advisor, a COO? Like, what?" And lets him know that she just lets him know that she will always depend on him, and he will always be the person that she goes to, she depends on. And yes, things are going to change, and she's glad that he came to her with this, but yeah, because it helps her to understand where he's coming from. And she said, yes, things are going to change, and it's scary when things change, but she understands. He'll always be that person. And so that was it. That was a show, and they communicated. I wish more, like, well, I guess it wouldn't be a great soap opera if more couples would communicate like this. But I'm gonna give it a 6.5, maybe even a 7. I mean, because everything can't be excitement. And I think it was just a solid episode. It got, these are people we haven't gotten to see in a few days. So it was nice to bring them in, give them, a story and catch us up on what's going on with them. As far as Jack goes, the person then texts him back. The person then texts him back and everything, and it's sad. I wish they would. I feel like they're drawing out this storyline, and I get it. They want to be suspenseful when they finally do introduce the granddaughter that we've been hearing about. I get that, but come on, let's meet her. And then with I think with Billy and Lily, and then Devon and Tracy. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it today. It was a solid 7 for me. Um, I just enjoyed the storyline today. Just catching up with them. Do I want to see them every day? Probably not, but I don't want to see Victoria and them every day either. But so I think it's nice just to break that up. All right, guys, that was Young and the Restless. I will see you tomorrow on Thursday with another episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.